in your estimation, what are some real strengths of the horror genre?
Mm,
For example, I think that horror, a lot of times, you are able to talk about difficult things, taboo things sometimes, very emotional things.
mhm.
And whereas it might turn some people off to know that that was going to be the focus of a romance novel or even a drama, but you put it within to horror, and it's almost like, you need your dog to take this pill, so you wrap it in a little thing of cheese, and so it just helps it go down a little bit more. So in
That's
your
such a good way
estimation,
of putting it.
what are some strengths of the genre?
Well, I think I mean, you hit the nail on the head right there. Like you can talk about things that I think we all have, like it's a good way to bring up certain topics and at the same time purge them from yourself. Like I've definitely done that a couple of the first few short stories that I had published in the first place were related back to some element of my life at that time that I was having a difficulty with. And I don't think that that was necessarily something that I thought of to do. It wasn't like I thought, okay, that's what the focus of this is going to be. It's more like you sit down and start, writing, and all this stuff comes out, whether it's work, whether it's home, whether it's whatever relationship, so it it's kind of two sides of the coin, both able to address these things and at the same time give yourself therapy
Mm.
in essence, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I just off the top of my head, I think about the movie Get Out,
Mm,
where a lot of times people feel uncomfortable talking about racism. It's a difficult topic and there are strong opinions all around it.
yeah,
Yet you can watch this movie and you can see some of the arguments from both sides of the aisle, all tied up in this nice little box of horror, but at the end of it you feel like, I've learned some things, whether you are of the mind that, within America, there is tons of racism and it's systemic, and the majority of white people are racist, or you're of the mind of like, racism is dead, it's a thing of the past. I think that both groups of people can sit and watch this movie and feel like, maybe they can see the other perspective a little bit and maybe learn a little bit, and that doesn't have to even lead to a change of opinion or a change of mind, but it can lead to some empathy, which can in turn, in real life, walking away from the movie, you can have tough conversations, deep conversations, where maybe you might change some of your opinion, and that's
absolutely.
awesome.
Well, that's one of the best things I think about fiction in general is that you walk up to someone and tell them. Actually, I address very much exactly this in in the Miracle Sin. But if you walk up to somebody and tell them something, they won't believe you. But if you tell them a story with a moral at the center,
Mm-hmm.
they'll get that. Whether they agree with it or not, that's a different thing. But they will. First of all, they'll probably listen, and secondly, it it helps. It helps because it's less that you're telling it to them and you're helping them experience that
Yes.
at the same time. It puts the reader, the viewer, whatever, in the shoes behind the eyes, I guess, of the character going through those things, and allows you to see from another point of view. That's easily the most powerful and most valuable thing about any kind of fiction, I think.
Yeah, that's the power of story, and I think that what makes it even stronger within the horror genre is you are typically going into a scary movie or a spooky book with the mindset of there are going to be things in here that make me uncomfortable. And so going into that already, you know, the author or the director can slip in some extra things because that person is already in the mindset of I'm going to be made uncomfortable, as opposed to maybe if they're going into another type of genre where they want to just be entertained, or they just want to be made to feel good or to feel bad. I think the horror genre sets people up for some uncomfortable experiences, but that
Yeah.
is just a part of the process.
Yeah. And that's as you expose yourself to that over time, like, you know, whether it's a relatively newer thing, or, you know, probably like us, I think from early childhood or at least adolescence, it climatizes you a little bit to, well, maybe more than a little bit, but to dealing with those top or confronting or meeting or what have you with topics like that. And so I mean, a lot of people, it seems like as soon as something like that comes up, whether it's racism or abuse, trauma, you know, they tend to shy away from it almost immediately. Whereas I think a lot of people who are used to this sort of thing, it becomes more a matter of, no, like, let's talk about, these are things that probably should be talked about, maybe not all the time, maybe not in every setting or with every group of people, but the more something gets talked about, the more it becomes commonplace, and the less of a stigma there is.
Yeah.
So everything together, this, I mean, you want the value of horror, I think this is a lot. We're doing a lot of good for a lot of people.
Yeah. No,
Right.
I love it. I mean, I know I've said this before, but a big part of my writing, why I write and what I'm trying to get out of it is, you know, obviously for me on a personal level, I'm processing a lot of stuff. I'm working through a lot of things in my own psyche and my own experience, but I'm in my writing, I'm willing to face the demons. I'm willing to, you know, just uncover the horrific and the scary and the traumatic, in the hopes that a reader can read those things and within the relative safe confines of fiction, but
Yeah.
then learn about themselves, or maybe learn from a character and be empowered to then go into their real life and face those real demons, those real monsters, and maybe find some victory.
Yeah. It's like the old saying goes, is as soon as you face a fear, it disappears.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you, the more you shy away from something and turn your back on it, the more it can cast a shadow over you. But if you turn around and look at it and meet it face to face, loses
Yeah.
its power.